So recently, a video has gathered some steam on Reddit and YouTube and reaction videos as well. It's caused a fair bit of discussion despite not having the most views in the world because it's so divisive. I'll show you the thumbnail of it. This is the thumbnail, 84% evil, and then the title is The Myth of the Good Man, the True Distribution of Evil Men. And then obviously when you look at the thumbnail, it's 84% evil with a picture here, which I don't know if this is like a real image or AI generated. It very heavily implies that this video is like a sort of thesis on 84% of men being evil. Which is, regardless of how true or not true, I guess we'll find out based on the evidence provided, but it's bound to be a rather interesting video for sure. How'd they come up with a number? Well, there's only one way to find out, dude. There's only one way to find out. There is some stuff that I saw from some clips of Papa Gut watching this video, and not in terms of what... Oh, they made a book. I didn't know they made a book. The War on Evil, Volume 1, Essay Collection ebook. Interesting. You were born into the world run by evil. The 5 great evils are extreme wealth inequality, patriarchy, racism and nationalism, religious conflict, and war. Okay, so I guess men isn't on the top 5 evil, the top 5 great evils, which is interesting if they're 84% of if 84% of them are genuinely fucking evil. A counseling call? Is she like a licensed counselor? $50 US for a counseling call with Carla. And then you got an image here. A private video call where you can talk to me through whatever you're navigating in your life. Interesting. Okay. It's probably AI. I'm curious. The Carla Kim, the hater of evil, as opposed to everyone else who fucking loves evil, I think. Hater of evil, thinker for good. What are these... The dots here are really they're off-putting. Like, there's a capital I, why is there a dot on top? But it is what it is, I guess. War on Evil ebook, Book of Cool, Stay in the Know. It's a well-put-together website, to be fair. Although I guess websites have just notoriously, they're quite easy to make nowadays. Catalog. It's not the most lengthy catalog in the world, but big up to her. Fair enough. She uses Indian sweatshops for her rugs, but if it was a dude who did it, they'd be classified as level 2 evil. Indian sweatshops for her rugs. What the fuck? What are you on about? Are you serious? What, she, like, has slaves in India make rugs for her? Is that real, according to her? Petals XOX. Is that... Where can I find that? Is that right? Really? She admitted to it on Instagram. Okay, let me find this. We haven't even watched the fucking video yet, and we're already, like, getting into all this shit. Instagram. Carla Kim. Work, ebook, misery, Bangkok. So I've got this here. Got our Instagram up. Carla Kim products. But that's the book again. Work. Where is this? Can you point me towards it, Petal? Or if it's in the Papa Gut video, then could you maybe timestamp the part of the Papa Gut video, perhaps? Or to be fair, I'll find it. I'll just find it on Papa Gut's video. But first, I actually want to have a look at the video itself. Can't wait for the 0 references to back up what she says. I don't know, man. I feel... Look, I think that generally men are very unwilling or unable to acknowledge how predatory a lot of men genuinely are. So I don't know. I feel as though there might be some bullshit here, but there also might be some genuine, decent, like, I don't know. I honestly wouldn't know. But there's a lot of controversial opinions that I have towards men and, like, in terms of, not even in defense of them. Although I do have some, you know, general defenses as well. Of course, I am a man. I like being a man. And I think men generally are, you know, I've got most of my friends are men and I like them. They're good. I'm not like a man hater by any means. I'm not like a hate all men type of fucking, I'm not that kind of performative male. But yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look.
We were brainwashed into the delusion that most men are good and a few are evil. I will prove to you that 85
Thank you very much, Hopen, for the membership. I will prove to you that 85% to 90% of men are evil. This is a very, like, strong claim here. I'm super interested to hear what is going to be said in this video. Like, I'm actually very interested.
to 90% of men are actually evil. I will challenge you to think of evil not
Where did the statistic come from? The statistic is that this is her statistic. This is her own research.
not as a binary, but instead as a spectrum.
1 hour, 2 minutes, 41 seconds. Okay, I'll pull that up and then we can have a look at that later. I found the bit that works. We'll have a look at that later. Thank you very much for that, though. That's invaluable information if it's true. Although, like I said earlier, even if she does exploit Chinese and Indian slaves to make the rugs and then sell them in a really like capitalistic, evil kind of exploitative manner, that does not mean that what she is saying in this video, especially if it is backed up with genuine evidence, is necessarily false. It just makes her a hypocrite for spouting it. But it doesn't mean that like it's not worth listening to. But regardless, I want to see what she actually talks about here. Standard distribution applied to male behavior, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. So tier 5 is the worst group of men at 2.2%, and then the best is also 2.2%. Got tier 4 is evil, tier 3 is contained. This confused. Oh, but evil is anything above good. Okay. This is her thing, I think. Okay, let's have a look.
Through the lens of a 5-tier distribution system. I will use my own boyfriend as an example of this distribution.
Oh, God. I don't know. Oh, that's like really uncomfortable, actually. I don't know if that's the best. I guess maybe it's the bloke that you know the most personally, but I don't know. That sounds like it can only really go badly. I'm trying to think, like, fuck, if I, like... When I was obviously still, I wouldn't do that with any of my friends, let alone my girlfriend when I had one. Like that'd be really weird. But I guess we'll have to just see where she's going with this.
And then we will also examine what the definition of a truly good man is and the burden that good men face when they're facing overwhelming evil. We will also go into how women can dismantle the patriarchy through selective mating using the information in this video. Let me
through selective mating using the... Okay, so I'm guessing by that she means the patriarchy can be dismantled if women exclusively go for the 15% of good men. That's what she means by selective mating. So I'm guessing what she means by that is do not go or do not flirt with or do not get with any men that are past this point, I guess. It's like only be with the men who are passive or best. But selective mating does sound very, like, primal and strange, but let's see, I guess. How will they know if they're good men? Well, to be fair, we're 26 seconds into a 26-minute video. I think there is actually something interesting to be said about how she said good men have to carry the burden of, like, the evil men in society or whatever. I think that is actually interesting because, in a way, good men, or not even good men, but okay men, do benefit greatly in ways from... sick and evil men as well when it comes to talking to women or flirting with women, because like the bar being low, I know it's like a joke, but it's also so fucking true that because men as a whole or generally are seen a lot of the time as like shitty, or they don't know how to treat people correctly, or they don't know how to be attractive, or they don't know how to wash their arsehole correct or whatever, they set the standard so low that people who are just like, I'll wake up and I'll cook breakfast for a girl, and all of a sudden I'm the kindest person that they've ever fucking met in their life who is of the male gender. And it shouldn't be that way, but that is a benefit that I am reaping, I guess, from the evils, for lack of a better word, that men set. But it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't make me a good person. It just makes like a lot of the other people that they've interacted with very substandard or like mediocre or potentially shitty, depending on how bad it went, I guess.
that good men face when they're facing overwhelming evil. We will also go into how women can dismantle the patriarchy through selective mating using the information in this video. Let me just give you data so that you can wake up to reality on how truly evil the world is. 736 million women globally have been sexually abused. 99% of adult female rape is done by men. 80% of adult male rape is done by men. 300 million children globally have been sexually abused. 96% of child sexual abusers are men. 14 million men in America alone, which is 1 in 9, have sexually abused a child. 90% of homicide suspects.
1 in 9 men have sexually abused a child. Fucking hell, really? 1 in 9 men have admitted online sexual offending against children at some point in their lives. Admitted online sexual offending against children at some point in their lives. Representative surveys found 7% of men in the UK equating to 1.8 million offenders. That's fucking crazy, dude. Is that real? Let's see what the sources are saying. Wait, hang on. There's no fucking sources. Come on, dude. If you have to, like, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna say shit like this, you need sources. You have to have sources. You can't do that. That's like, in my mind, that's like catastrophic video production. I guess let's try finding this, let's try and find this statistic. 1 in 9 men admitted online sexual offending against children. So from what I'm seeing, that statistic is from a recent data from Australia, UK, and USA. Nearly 1 men reported engaging in at least one form of online sexual offending behavior against children in their lifetime, such as viewing abuse material or interacting with children for sexual purposes. Is that self-reported data? That's really strange, dude. I'm not saying that it's false, but I'm saying that I'm uncomfortable with asserting it as like a universal fact without looking into it properly. Fuck, I'm so annoyed that she didn't just put the fucking sources in the description. When you're making a video of this arc, I feel like that's so necessary. Like, put a doc or something with all the sources in there, because that sounds fucking insane, dude. And as far as I'm aware, like, from what I'm seeing here, there aren't really any other studies on it. That's the source. Let's move on. No, but I can't. There's a lot more research in terms of like victims or the percentage of perpetrators of sexual abuse being men, or the percentage of victims being men, or whatever the fuck. But to say that like when you generalize men as a whole, 1 in 9 have done something like that. I just wish we could actually see the fucking study. But I can't find it anywhere, which I guess is the issue. But whatever. We'll keep watching. The study, this doesn't study women's online behavior either, and I know it's mainly men, but it doesn't negate all women's faults. Yeah, absolutely, that's true as well. I would assume that there aren't, like, 1 in 9 men sounds realistic to me. I understand, but it's also very irresponsible to base your knowledge of the world on what sounds realistic. Because pornography is a very large industry, and men get a lot of shit for perpetuating and using said industry. However, at minimum, based on every report that I can find, at least a third of pornography viewers are women. So it's not as though the industry is upheld exclusively by men. But that's something you don't really hear much. 1 in 9 would be insane to me. That's like everyone. Yeah, that's fucked up. I can't like. Again, I'm not saying that it's absolutely false, but I just wish that she fucking sourced it like a responsible creator.
1 in 9 have sexually abused a child. 90% of homicide suspects worldwide were men. And 100% of dictators and mass genocide war criminals in modern history were all men. In terms of...
That's not true. Queen Victoria was fucking horrible to Ireland. Potato famine wise and stuff. That was Queen Victoria. To say 100, but like, if you want to say the vast majority, that's like totally fine. But when you start throwing terms around like 100%, you're almost asking to be debunked.
Of dictators and mass genocide war criminals in modern history were all men. In terms of degeneracy, 16.7 million males ages 12 and older have alcohol use disorder, which is about...
Is that evil, or is that just addiction though?
12% of men in this age group, which is almost double that of the woman peer comparison. Men are 2 to 3 times more.
Wait, degeneracy. How? That doesn't make any... That's not evidence towards men being evil, though. That's evidence that men struggle more with addiction in terms of alcoholism and such than women. That's not evil. Putting that under the realm of degeneracy, I feel as though is irresponsible here.
More likely to be addicted to drugs.
I think it's actually very distasteful.
60% of people in
addicted to drugs
times more likely to be addicted to drugs, and 60% of people in rehab are men.
I don't understand how that makes them evil, though. Porn addiction is a nuanced take, mate. What does that even mean? What do you mean porn addiction is a nuanced take? Porn addiction is an addiction, like every other addiction. In fact, it's not necessarily even the fault of the man who, like, because I think a lot of people, like the average age people are introduced to porn now is like something crazy, like 12 years old or something. It's very difficult to blame men for being exposed to porn when their first exposure to it is 12 years old. It's like, what, are we going to blame the fucking 12-year-old for being exposed to porn in a way that they shouldn't have been exposed to it by? Is that an issue with the 12-year-old, or is that an issue with the porn industry, or the internet, or the people surrounding the 12-year-old who aren't monitoring them correctly? It's tough. It is tough. It's complicated. It's a complicated issue. 100%. That's not to say that men are, like, innocent when it comes to perpetuating pornography as well. But again, a third of the people who view pornography, at least, are women as well. It's a very complicated issue, for sure. 21% of men report abusing alcohol. Nearly 60% people... Again, though, where's the fucking sources, though? It's like, genuinely, why do you think people are addicted to this shit? Surely this is, like... Wouldn't this be... Roughly 11.5% of men age 12 or older have substance use disorder, compared to 6.4% of women in the same age range. Men who abuse illicit drugs are more likely than women to require emergency medical intervention and are more likely to experience a fatal overdose. I don't understand how this makes men evil, or how this adds anything to the credibility of the claim that men are evil.
70 to 90% of men watch porn regularly.
87% of men and 28.5% of women view porn at least once a week among US adults. Percentage of US. I need to see the source here, though, because there are so many different sources with so many different statistics regarding studies like these. To show one cherry-picked study that very much so, like, she's absolutely picked studies that are going to suit her narrative the most, which I feel as though is why she hasn't labeled them. And obviously there's truth to it. I'm not denying that men absolutely view pornography at a higher rate than women do, but to use this one specifically and not fucking cite it is just irresponsible journalism.
70% of males saw porn before the age of 18, and teen and incest porn are the 2 most watched categories, with Pornhub alone getting 11 billion visits to the site per month.
70% of men view porn before 18 years old. That's not their fault, though. If a 12-year-old is caught watching porn, that's not on the 12-year-old. You can't blame a man for being, oh, well, fuck you, stupid 12-year-old. You're a misogynist. You're a fucking dickhead. You shouldn't be watching. It's like, no, it's not really on them, though. I was like 9 when I first seen porn, because I was at a friend's house for a sleepover, and they were like, oh, look at this funny video, and it was just some girl like sucking dick. And it was very uncomfortable. I was not a fan of that.
Categories.
What have we got here, though? What was it? Oh, yeah, the incest thing category. Incest teen category, right. Okay, I got it. Again, though, a third of pornography viewers are women. Like, to act as though women who view porn aren't also interested in, I guess, degeneracy, for the term that she uses, is also disingenuous.
B with the billion. 11% of men are addicted to porn, compared to only 3% for women.
Source. But the source is there, but we can't fucking click on it, dude.
94% of gaming addicts are men. 72% of sports bettors are men, but 98% of problematic sports gamblers are men. Men keep telling us that men are natural providers and protectors, and yet who are they protecting us from? Other men. And even when it's not other men, statistically, the greatest threat to women are their male intimate partners.
I don't think like super red-pilled men online like describe themselves as providers and protectors, but that's like some fanfic shit that most normal people don't use. One woman or girl is killed every 10 minutes by their intimate partner or family member.
Every 10 minutes, a woman is murdered by a man, usually an intimate partner or a family relative.
Yeah, like, I want to be clear here. I'm not like not all menning any of this shit. Like, there's no doubt men are fucking generally horrible to women worldwide, and there's a lot of evilness and fucking depravity and terrible shit going on. But it's just so difficult to take videos like this seriously when they don't cite the fucking source.
And
one woman or girl is killed every 10 minutes by their intimate partner or family member. Okay, let's have a look. I really shouldn't need to do this. Okay. Let's have a look. The latest report on femicides reveals that 60% of all female homicides are committed by an intimate partner or family member. Here we go. How is this measured? Globally, 85,000 women and girls were killed intentionally in 2023. 60% of these homicides, 51,100, were committed by an intimate partner or a family member. The data shows that 140 women and girls die every day at the hands of their partner or close relative, which means one woman or girl is killed every 10 minutes. Yeah, fucking hell, dude. That is unhinged. Africa recorded the highest rates of intimate partner and family-related femicide, followed by the Americas, and then by Oceania. In Europe and the Americas, we kill domestic sphere. Okay, it does seem as though this is a reputable source. This is the UN women, so it does seem real. So yeah, I mean, that is undoubtedly fucking disgusting, for sure. Definitely worth putting into a video like this, for sure. But again, the claim is 85% of men are evil. And I would like to hear what else she has to say.
In terms of the domestic sphere, when you actually look at what's happening behind closed doors, 25% of US households are considered absent father households.
Approximately 1 in 4 US children, roughly 18.19 million, are without a biological step or adoptive father in the home. Key findings on father absence: over 80 million children under 18 live in a father-absent home. Roughly 20 to 25% of children live in a household with a
meaning that there are tens of millions of children in the US who don't have any relationship with their father. Their father absolutely abandoned their sons and daughters for dead. Ashley Madison, which was...
True. It's more of a class problem, that one, though. And by proxy, a race issue as well. You know, a large part of the reason for that is because black men are massively overrepresented in jail, and they get arrested a lot more often, which sort of leaves the kids with one parent a lot of the time. That's not to say that like a lot of men are very irresponsible and also fuck off, because they can, but
a cheating website had 11.
I think this is like the intro where she just sort of gets a lot of shit or the evils of the world like established, I suppose, but
11 million married male users versus only 2,000 women on the site. 25% of married men have admitted to cheating, and that is highly underreported. You look at every
25% of married men have admitted to cheating. Okay. From what I'm aware, the percentage of female to male cheaters is pretty equal. I think it's like 40% women to 60% men. But even then, it's very difficult to measure. It's extremely difficult to it's impossible to measure. It shifts slightly with age. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think women in their 60s are among the most likely people to cheat. However, men in their 70s and 80s are also like, I think that's the most likely demographic of people to cheat ever. But to act as though one gender cheats like a disproportionate amount more than the other is unfair. I think it's just unfair. Who's admitting to cheating like that as well? Yeah, there's definitely a lot of liars and a lot of people who just don't admit it. Oh, whoops. Is it muted? Yeah, my bad.
Sexual violence.
Let's go back.
Highly underreported. You look at every single category of evil: sexual violence, murder, genocide, addiction, infidelity, domestic abuse, financial self-destruction. What is the common denominator in all of them? Men. Men, men, men in every single category. They lead every degeneracy by not just marginally or just kind of, by overwhelmingly statistically. Women are told every single day, not all men, most men are good. So let me pose to you a very simple logical question. If it is truly the case that most men are good and we only have a few bad men, why is the world run by evil men? Why have historically and today all the political leaders, the warmongers, the ones that have led us into...
The world's run by evil men because it's made for evil men. Like, if you're shitty enough, like, if you're a shitty enough person and also able to come into power, then if a shitty man comes into power, they will sort the system and make the system into one where shitty men are sort of conditioned to come into power. I think it's very unfair that, like, lower class men, for example, or men of color are put in the same category as the men who run the world, essentially.
Multiple world wars, nuclear warfare, mass climate destruction, resource hoarding, oppression of women and children. Who led all that? Evil men. So if it is truly the case that the majority of men are good, how are they ineffectively stopping the evil men? This is such an obvious answer, and yet no one has really posed that so directly the way that I am doing to you.
Okay, that is an insane statement. This is the most milquetoast take that fucking every TikToker at some point has said at some point. Like, there are so many millions of views TikTok where every fucker and their dog has had this opinion at some point, dude. You're not like some revolutionary intellectual for thinking about this thought, dude. There's like, the amount of ego in that statement is fucking insane.
Because we all know, using our five senses, our basic observations of reality, that it is evil men who run all the corporations, all the decisions, all the wars, all the governments, that we have a literal Epstein class of child rapists and cannibalists that are running our country, America. And yet you're telling me that the 99.9% of men can't stop that? Clearly that means that there aren't enough...
Hang on. Oh, God, that's really going to annoy me. So
good men. Now let's get
There's not enough good men, because if there were enough good men, they'd be able to stop the men in power. See, that's ridiculous. Unfortunately, most men are just as powerless as women. Exactly, not every man has that power. In fact, there is basically no man with enough power to fucking single-handedly topple down the system of evil men. They try. There are protests all the fucking time. It's just not like... To act as though men as a collective who are like lower class or laymen or, what's the word, like proletariat, have the ability to just overthrow the government and overthrow the evil men who run the world. And the only reason that they haven't done so is because they are just as evil as those in power is fucking ridiculous. And also based on fucking nothing, by the way. It's based on nothing.
Into the real distribution of good versus evil men. We have all seen the standard bell curve. This is the phenomenon where most data points tend to cluster in the middle, and then you have 1 to 2 standard deviations from the middle. I have identified 5 tiers. Starting from the worst, tier number 5, 2.2%, the far left tail. This is the worst of the worst. Think child rapists, adult rapists, sex traffickers, murderers, dictators, genociders. These men terrorize men, women, and children openly. And as I explained in video number 1, patriarchy was a system designed by evil men to subjugate the weaker men. In return, the weaker men got to oppress women and children. So society rarely ever prosecutes these tier 5 men. And in fact, most of human civilization was shaped by these tier 5 men. They are the evil men that rule everything in our world. Tier number 4, which are 13 point...
I don't necessarily think that, like, well, she's spouting complete bullshit here, but I just love some examples, like, or some stats of what she's talking about, but she doesn't really seem to be a fan of citing her sources at all.
6% is 1 standard deviation to the left. These are men who are actively evil in visible ways, but they're not at a tier 5 level yet. So these are men who beat their partners, they cheat and manipulate their partners, they gaslight them, they verbally, emotionally abuse them. They are outspokenly supporting misogynistic ideology. Think about all the incel and far-right men. Scam, they exploit, they do crime. So these are the people where people can say, okay, this is clearly like a bad person. Tier number 3, this is the majority, 68.2% of men. And I'm going to come back to this in the next section. And tier number 2 is where we start to see good men. So these are the 13.6% of men. These are men who love and honor their woman and their community. So they're faithful, they're a decent father, they love their families, but they will do absolutely nothing in the fight against the 5 great evils. They will never stand up to evil men. They will not fight against the patriarchy. They will be essentially useless bystanders. Tier number 1 are the 2.2% of good men. These are men who use their entire life as a living testimony and sacrifice to fight against the 5 great evils. The 5 great evils are 1, extreme wealth inequality and resource distribution, 2, patriarchy and the gender war men waged on women and children, 3 is racism and nationalism, 4 is religious conflict, and 5 is war and systemic violence. These men sacrifice their comfort, their reputation, and their safety to fight against these evils because they are so committed to justice and righteousness, and they will also reflect that in their personal lives and their treatment of women and children. Most women will never meet a tier 1 man. Now let's go back to the section that is the most important, which is the tier 3 man, the majority of men, 68.2%. This is
if you don't dedicate your life to it, you can't be good. Now she's saying if you don't dedicate your life to it, you can be like passive, but you have to dedicate your life to be like the best genre of man, I suppose.
Which is the tier 3 man, the majority of men, 68.2%. This is what women fundamentally do not understand about the tier 3 man. We tend to think about evil men as someone who overtly expresses their evil. So think of tier 4 and 5, right?
From what I understand, the graph, like she made this graph. This does sound very red pill. This is like the theme, like it does sound, this is like, I feel like I'm listening to the Wizard Liz on crack, slightly.
But what I am here to explain to you is that evil is a pathology. It is a disease of the mind. It's like a bacteria or a virus that festers in a person's spirit, heart, and soul that makes them want to violate, exploit, extract, and oppress. Men, 68% of them, are in this tier 3. They are not good men. They are just contained evil men. So this distinction is so important. A tier 3 man wants to do everything that a tier 4 and 5 men are doing. They focus on them privately through pornography, fantasy, desires, actions that he does behind closed doors, but he doesn't do them publicly or legally because he knows for 2 reasons. 1 is that he is not powerful or rich enough to get away with the consequences of it, and 2, he will face those consequences if he does it, and he doesn't want to go to jail or ruin his reputation and lose everything in life. That is not someone who is good.
This is one of, okay. She's completely lost me here. I wasn't like fully on the train before this, but this is completely like destroyed any shred of credibility she could ever possibly fucking have, in my opinion. Like there is no recovering from how fucking dumb that statement was. So the claim that she's making is that it's essentially impossible to be a good man because if you are a good man, the only reason why you're not committing evil is because you know you don't have the power or money to get away with said evils. The issue with saying something like that is it's impossible to argue against because now everyone who is good, everyone who isn't fucking evil is only not evil because they don't have the ability to commit the evils that the higher-ups are committing. However, the exact same thing could be said about women. I wouldn't say it because I think it's bullshit on both sides, but you could easily say, well, why aren't women as evil as men? Because women don't have the strength or power that men do. Okay, well, if they did have the strength and power that men did, then they would also be acting just as badly as the men, so women aren't good people either. So, okay, why don't women shoplift? Because they know they'd get caught, but if they knew they wouldn't get caught and there'd be no consequences for it, then they would shoplift, so there's no such thing as a good woman either. This is ridiculous. This is complete bullshit. This is like really, really, really stupid. I can't even fucking begin to describe how stupid this is. Mate, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know, I feel like it's really not that difficult to understand what I'm saying right now. Like, if a guy does something bad, then he's evil, according to her, which is, like, fine. However, if a guy does something good, he's also evil because he's only doing that good thing because he knows he can't get away with doing the bad thing. If he behaves well, no, he's still evil. He's just constraining his evilness. He's constraining his sinister nature. So at no point can a man prove that he's good. So her entire fucking theory, her system, completely falls apart. But when I say that it can be said about women, I don't think it can be said about women. I'm saying that based on her, like, worldview, it could be. I don't believe in all this shit. I do think there is obviously something to be said about pseudo-moralistic guys who talk about how they would never cheat on a woman, they would never do it, but the only reason they wouldn't do it is because they don't have the fucking opportunity to cheat on a woman because they're really unfuckable and unattractive, right? That is absolutely a genre of man that exists. But to generalize every man as only choosing not to commit evil because they don't have the ability to is completely baseless. It's like there's no evidence to support it, and it's impossible to argue against. Which is probably why she thinks she's so fucking clever and special for coming up with it. Because by her logic, everyone is evil, and it's impossible to disagree with her. Because if you're good, then you're evil, and if you're bad, then you're also evil. Like, why would you even want to live like this?
Absence of evil does not equate goodness. It is just someone who is basically oppressed by the system. So remember how I keep saying that patriarchy was a system of evil men subjugating other men and then subjugating women and children, right? The average man would, if he was given the opportunity to do evil, he would do it. He just doesn't have the money and the resources that the evil men at the top have to do it. This is a very
See, this is what I mean. This is such a hard sell. This is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. This is what I just said. It's like, well, it's impossible, and then it's impossible to be a good man. If you're a good man, then you're only being good because you don't have the money and power to be bad. It's completely circular, and there's no way of proving it, which is why it's like impossible to disprove it as well.
Common phenomenon, right? This is why you can look at a man who was, let's say, poor, and then he got up and he became upper class or wealthy or ultra rich. Notice how they then changed their behavior. They begin terrorizing women and children. They begin cheating on their wives. They want to marry a woman that is considered a sexual object and highly desirable by other men. This is how they morph their behavior, because it's not that they were actually—
No, this is incredibly fucking reductionist, dude. This is like ridiculously reductionist. And the thing is, it's like you can make a video like this. You can. And you can talk about, like, systemic bits of patriarchal society that aren't talked about enough that men really need to, work to improve on. Because you really could. There's a lot of shit that men need to work on. A lot of shit that men as a whole generally need to work on. But she's taken it to such a fucking extreme here that it's impossible to take her seriously.
Making decisions because they were truly good men. They were making decisions because they were settling for the fact that they didn't have access to do what they truly wanted to do, which was to terrorize other men, women, and children. Let's put this into practical terms.
Like, when you say something like this with no evidence, it's like it would be just as credible if I came out and made a video like demeaning women this exact same way.
The man that you are dating may not be a rapist or a pedophile, but does he watch teen porn? Because the overwhelming data suggests that 80 to 90% of men regularly consume porn, and the top two categories of porn are incest porn and teen porn, and Pornhub alone gets 11 billion visits a month, okay? So if we're talking about that many viewers, that many views per month, and these are the top two categories, that indicates a collective desire and a pathology that is festering in the average man. I want to remind you that we as a society have created laws to stop men from raping and marrying children. That's why we have age of consent laws. And in the US, in 34 states, it is still legal to marry a child. Anyone who is under 18 is considered a child. And in some countries in the world today, child marriage is still a massive epidemic and problem. As I said in the statistics before, men lead in every single category of degeneracy. If it is
Okay, I'm struggling to figure out what the actual point of this video is. Is there like a moral at the end of this? Is there like a solution to this all? Or is this just a video fear-mongering for the sake of fear-mongering and like trying to widen the class and gender divide and make people hate each other more? Which is not what we need at all. Like, it's good that people know facts. It's good to talk about facts, but it's also good to back those facts up with, actual source citation, and also not bring out wacky, zany, pseudoscience-y theories that don't involve anything.
Truly the case that both men and women commit evil at the same level, we would see a similar 50-50 split in all categories of degeneracy between men and women, and that is not the case. So when you look at the real distribution, we're talking about 84% of men fall.
When she says degeneracy, that's so ridiculous, degeneracy. Because she says stuff like addiction is a hallmarker of evil. Does that mean people who, attempt suicide, is that, evil in her mind? Is that degeneracy in her mind? Because from what I'm aware, I think women attempt suicide more than men, but men go through with it more. Does that mean women are more likely to attempt, a method of evil? Because is that, degeneracy? Because maybe they're addicted to something, or they're depressed, or they're in rehab or something? Is that is that... I don't know. I really have a problem with the degeneracy thing being a marker of evil.
Between tiers 3 through 5. Okay, so these are all evil and contained men. 13.6% of tier 2 men are just privately decent but systemically useless. And then the only men that I would consider to be truly good men are the tier 1 men, and those are only about 2.2% of men. Go back to the question, why is the world run by evil men if the majority of men are good? The answer is that the majority of men are not good men. They are on a...
That's not the answer. I'm not going to say the majority of men are good men. It's a fucking it depends so much on what the definition of good is. It depends on, it's also impossible to fucking measure. There's so many different countries and shit, it's impossible to say. But that's not the reason why the world is run by evil men. The majority of men are fucking powerless, dude. They just want to... The majority of men who aren't online, the majority of people, in fact, who aren't online, aren't thinking about revolution or taking down higher-ups. They're thinking about working their stupid job that they hate doing, coming back home, providing for their family, and going for a pint every now and then with their pals. Yeah, this is very damaging. In her mind... Does good just mean, completely devoted and in agreement with everything that she's saying?
spectrum of...
Can we look at the comments? I would assume that the comments are very much on her side because of the type of channel that this is.
Evil. But we were told as women, because we were brainwashed under patriarchy...
We can have a look when we finish it, because I want to know what the comments are actually talking about.
That if a man... But we were told as women, because we were brainwashed under patriarchy, that if a man is not a tier 4 or 5, he's a good man. So when you ask women, oh, why do you say your man is good? She'll say negatives. She will say he does not cheat. He does not gamble away our finances. He does not drink himself away every night. He does not do drugs every day. She will use negatives to explain a degeneracy that he is not doing.
Is there any evidence to support that? I mean, I highly doubt anyone in this chat with a boyfriend would describe their boyfriend as, desirable because of those aspects. This is, an insane generalization that I don't even think is true. Which is why I'm sure, she couldn't even find, a unreliable study to back this one up. This is just yap.
The absence of evil is not the criteria for good. The criteria for
You've already said that, mate.
Good is someone who actively fights against evil and implements a better system.
Yeah, but according to you, those who are actively fighting against evil can still be classified as evil because they're only doing so because they don't have the money or power to actually commit said evils.
Is the burden of the 2.2% of good men. When you talk about the needle of good and evil, where we're trying to fight against evil and progress ourselves towards a utopia and an egalitarian society, the 2.2% of truly good men are vastly outnumbered. They are basically carrying on the burden of trying to fight against every other man who is evil, and that is the majority of men. And the 13.6% of good men who are systemically useless because they won't stand up to evil, you can just consider them as like an
I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, where is that 2.2% fucking coming from? Where is that coming from? What do you need to do to be a part of this 2.2 fucking percent thing?
Consequential factor in this fight against evil.
It's like it's just based on fucking nothing, dude. Is labeling men like almost randomly into categories on a fucking graph productive in any way, shape, or form? Is categorizing people into a binary almost based on pseudoscience and forcing them to other themselves and almost apologize and grovel because of their gender? Is that productive? Is that really the way to go about this?
To use a real case study as an example, the Cesar Chavez case. Okay, Cesar Chavez was one of the most celebrated labor rights leaders in American history. Schools were named after him. We have a federal holiday that is named after him because he was such a champion for migrant farm workers' rights. Multiple women and children have come forward that they have been sexually raped by this man. Okay, I want you to sit with this. We're talking about, for example, 2 women in the New York Times articles talked about the rape happening as young as 8 and 15 years old. These women kept quiet because 1, they didn't think anyone would believe them, and 2, they were scared that if they came out, it would essentially discredit the good that he was doing for wealth and equality rights. And so what we see is that a man that we thought was a tier 1 man actually turned out to be a tier 5 man. And this is a very common phenomenon. I will make more videos exposing what we thought were good men in society.
I was going to say, yeah, sexually raped as opposed to what? Platonically raped? So then then it's impossible to be a tier 1 man according to her, because tier 1 men are just tier 5 men in disguise. So just, I guess good men don't exist, I suppose. Which is like, whatever, I guess, if you think that, no problem, but... Also, it's so tough, because undeniably, his political impact was great for farm workers. Obviously, he did horrific shit to women as well. He also did a lot of really good work that for years and decades to this day has proven to be good. In my opinion, it breaks the pathology completely. Like, it isn't as simple as good man, bad man, bad things, good man, good things.
And how truly evil and despicable they were, and that they were...
Gandhi was he did unreal things for India. But he also slept with children. And allegedly beat his wife. And he died, his wife was dying of an illness and he wouldn't let her take the medication because of all this natural hippy-dippy bullshit. And then when she died, he took the medication after getting that illness. But then he also did really good things as well.
Were actually tier 5 men.
So he was fighting against... So if her claim is that tier 1 men are those who fight against the evils of the world, but then those who fight against the evils of the world can also be tier 5 men, it just goes to show in my mind that, like, there's no categorization here that makes sense. You just can't lock people into binaries like this. It goes for women too. Can an evil woman exist? I don't... Well, based on her logic of men are only good if they are unable to perform the evils that they truly want to, then yeah, every woman is evil as well, because the exact same thing can be applied to them.
This includes almost all the US founding fathers, almost every single leader in world history. But I will save that for another video. So this is not a contradiction. We have to stop thinking, like, I need you to switch your brain and stop thinking about evil as an outlier. I need you to understand that evil is a system. The 5 great evils, they work together to govern our world. And they are being upheld because the majority of men are evil. They will not fight against against the evil and they will not implement a good system. This is why our world is a hellscape and we don't live in a utopia where every person is taken care for. Food, shelter, water, basic resources, high quality of life. We can't do this for everyone because men are standing in the way.
Yeah, reducing down the world's issues to men bad, I think, is insanity, and it's incredibly irresponsible and incredibly reductionist. Like, if you're trying to decipher why the world has bad things that happen in it, it is impossible to boil it down to something as simple and reductionist as men bad. Absolutely, that plays a part in it. But to say that that is the one and only reason why the world isn't a fucking utopia is one of the most naive things that a human being could possibly ever say.
I need you to understand something. We have lived under male authority and leadership for almost all
How do you not understand what she's trying to say? Well, maybe explain it to me instead of just insulting me.
of human history, and we are not at a utopia. We have had 10,000 years almost of trackable human history, and it took men 10,000 years, and they still cannot figure out how to solve global poverty, global rape epidemic, global war, global everything. So you cannot tell me the delusion.
I asked you to explain to me how I don't understand what she's saying, and then your response was misandry isn't real.
And lie that most men are good.
I can't listen to people say that misandry is real. I just can't stand it. I never fucking said anything about misandry. I think misandry is it's not a word. It's not even a word in my vocabulary, to be honest. Not replying to you. Okay, whatever.
Because you can tell by the outcome of their collective efforts. Why, when men are confronted with the overwhelming evidence that their gender is the source of evil in humanity, why is it so hard for men to accept that? And why do we always see the phrase, not all men? Why am I getting blamed for something that I didn't?
Look, a lot of the time, misandry, which is, I think it's a dumb word. I'd never use that fucking word. But, a lot of the time, people who genuinely hate men or despise men or want bad things to happen to men, who claim to be feminists, don't actually understand what feminism is. One of the core tenets of feminism is that by dismantling the patriarchy, life improves for everyone, men included. It's not as though a feminist who fights for the rights of men is a exceptional feminist by any means. It's like, no, that's what feminism is. And that's why people who say that men are unable to become feminists or unable to preach feminism because they're not women, they don't understand what it's like, they don't know what feminism is either. They're performative feminists, ironically. Which is so funny because that's what I get called all the fucking time.
I want to give you an analogy, okay? Imagine that you're on a ship and there are 100 men, 100 women, and 100 children. And let's say 50 of those men took a sledgehammer and started beating other men, women, and children, and they started just beating the ship, and now everybody is sinking and they're about to die. Now imagine that the other 50 men who are not the ones terrorizing everyone else, imagine if they were to just stand there and go, well, I'm not the one that's sledgehammering everyone to death, so don't blame me. Why are you looking at me? You must be a misandrist. Do you see how nuts that would sound in that scenario?
Yeah, that would be nuts, but like...
We would tell that
how the fuck is this relevant, dude?
person, you are clearly denying reality.
I get it. I understand the concept of men who do not speak out against injustices or misogyny when their friends make misogynistic comments or whatever. That's bad. Absolutely, that's bad. I agree. It is bad, and more men should stand up to things like that and call their friends out when they say something misogynistic or horrible, or inadvertently admit to fucking raping someone, which a lot of men do, by the way. I think men are fucking grim. Like, this is it. This is the thing why it's tough to watch videos like this, because I think men are genuinely disgusting fucking creatures a lot of the time. And I think that there is a lot of very normalized rapey behaviors that men commit that no one even bats a fucking eyelid at. Like, I think hookup culture, a lot of the men who engage in hookup culture, I'm not going to say that they're fucking rapists, but there's a lot of really rapey behavior that goes on in hookup culture. So a lot of the time, if you're on a dating app and you're every woman on this fucking chat who's hooked up with anyone will understand this, by the way. If you're on Hinge or Tinder or fucking whatever, and you're talking to a man and they suggest that you go and grab drinks sometime, I find that incredibly fucking uncomfortable. Unless you make it abundantly clear before you meet that your intention is to eventually end up in some sort of sexually intimate scenario, that's fine because you've established whilst you're both stone cold sober and before you meet that is your intention and you're both sort of consenting to it. However, when someone merely suggests that you go out to grab drinks sometime with the intention of leading to something sexual, but not outright saying that, in my mind, that is a man thinking, I want to have sex with her, but I don't want to say it now while she's sober because she might say no. But if we go for a drink and she gets a little drunk and then I invite her home and then I try to engage from that point, it'll be a lot harder for her to say no. I think that's really fucking rapey. And unfortunately, and this is absolutely true, and I will not accept anyone saying that this is false, that is one of the most fucking normal ways that men hook up with women, or hookups happen in general. It is so fucking normal. Incredibly normal. It's one of the most normal things ever. That's why it's tough watching this video, because you could make a video about something like that. You could make a video about things like that and horrible things that men do that are genuinely just accepted, right? But the thing with that case there, most of the time, women are smart enough to go into the date or the scenario with the knowledge that the goal is, that the man's goal is to eventually have sex with them. So it's not as though they're entering the pub like thinking, oh, this will be a perfectly innocent time where he doesn't try anything. A lot of the time they know. But a lot of the time, the men are sort of banking on the ambiguity of going out for drinks and that. And even though it is consensual, the fact that they're not being completely safe, I don't know. This is it. I'm not saying it's rape. But it's fucking rapey. And I think there is a distinction to be made between rape and rapey. I think it's rapey. I think a lot of men who engage in hookup culture, I don't know about the majority, but this is the thing. I wouldn't do what she does and say it's the majority or most, because there's not really any evidence or statistics or research that suggests that. But I will say a lot of the men who engage in hookup culture, especially in that manner, are engaging in very rapey fucking behavior. That's not me calling them rapists. I wouldn't go that far, because at the end of the day, it is consensual, and a lot of the time the women enter the dates thinking, or knowing that that is the intention of the man, if they're smart and have, you know, a level of experience, I guess. But the fact that they might not, and the fact that a lot of women might think it is some innocent thing and get sort of roped into saying yes at some point because they have, because, I don't know, they're drunk and they're at the guy's house, it's easier to say yes than no, then, yeah, it's fucking really rapey, dude. Really rapey. Predatory, you can use the word predatory, but I'm sticking with the word rapey. Because I think rapey is I know it's not a real word, but, unfortunately, there's a lot of men who will deny, certain things being rape because they have done it. Coercion. Again, I'm sticking with the word rapey. I think that is the most appropriate word to use it, even though it's not real, because it gets across exactly what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
And we have a major problem that we need to fix. Patriarchy and the 5 great evils are the evil men going around with the sledgehammers, just terrorizing everyone.
But this is what I mean. I have radical, like, this is not an opinion that I hear a lot of people talk about. I've never heard anyone say what I have just said. And that's not me, like, trying to get on my fucking high horse or anything. But I've never heard anyone that opinion. You know? And, so it's like, when I watch this video, I'm willing to engage with the fucking points that she's making about a lot of men being evil. A lot more men than people are willing to admit being evil. Whether or not you want to display that kind of behavior or portray it as evil is like, whatever. I wouldn't disagree with you, because it depends on so many things. As much as I am saying that's rapey, there's also a chance that the man isn't fully intending or thinking about it or actualizing their intentions in that way or in that or that manner. I have no idea, dude. It's just a part of hookup culture that makes me incredibly fucking uncomfortable. Like, me personally, if that's my intention, I always make it as clear as possible before I meet the person that I want to engage in a casual, sexual relationship. The first time a girl will hear about that, if that's my intention, will be before we meet, whilst they're fucking sober online or something. Because at that point, it's like, that's fully informed consent.
Making the world a hellscape. And when men say not all men, they are directly contributing to the problem and minimizing the impact of the evil. And the reason why the men who say not all men is because they themselves are evil. They themselves are evil. They may not have committed a tier 4 or 5 level evil, but they're most certainly in tier 3. They do not see any problem with any of the stats that I presented. They want to be absolved of the crimes of their gender. And do you know why? Because our society treats men as individuals and not as a collective system. But we treat women as a collective system and not as individuals.
Are you not treating men as a collective system this entire fucking video, though? Like, you're saying the reason why men in power are able to stay in power and ruin the fucking world is because men bad. And they actually secretly support it? As though they're not the ones being affected by it as well?
I want you to pause the video and think about what I just said. We weigh a man's morality on an individual person-by-person basis. We don't then project that onto their collective. So for example, let's say a boy is not very good at math or science. We don't then say boys are not good at math and science. We then say John isn't good at math and science. If a girl were to not be good at math and science, we then say girls are not good at STEM. Girls are intellectually inferior to boys.
I think that this is bullshit. Present in more than prestigious education about yeah, I'd like to see the source here, but this doesn't sound correct.
Men are just smarter, stronger, better than women. This is what we say. Can't give you a better double standard example than the OnlyFans epidemic. 3 to 4 million women.
Oh, here we go. Here, my favorite topic. Shit, okay. Whew, here we go. Let me fucking get ready here. In fact, let me open a window real quick.
Are on OnlyFans. And yet there are...
What you say?
3 to 4 million women are on OnlyFans. And yet there are 4 billion women, and yet men have literally through the manosphere created an entire narrative that demonizes women and is basically advocating for our rights to be rolled back because they're like, well, the OnlyFans women show that women are vain and superficial and that they're willing to use sex to exploit men. So you're talking about 3 to 4 million women represent 4 billion women, but I'm not allowed to say that the hundreds of millions of men that have raped other men, women, and children, I can't say that that's representative of your gender. That's misandrist. We're not serious as a society.
You absolutely can, and it is very commonly done. And the red pill shit that she's talking about is a very hyper-specific niche of people that are widely fucking ridiculed by the majority of people online. Like, those people are not taken seriously by anyone worth their salt, dude. They're taken seriously by a very specific subgenre of unfuckable fucking stupid losers. But no one really takes them seriously ever.
We're not a serious collective. The not all men argument is part of the patriarchal programming. It absolves men as a collective of the sins and the crimes and the evils that their gender is doing, and it forces the burden of the morality onto the woman. So for example, in the absent father case, right, where fathers...
Is she not attributing the behavior of those red pill people to men as a collective, though? Like, surely she is guilty of the exact thing that she is accusing men as a collective of doing to women as a collective. It frustrates me because I get her point, but her execution is lackluster. It frustrates me because there are important things being brought up here, but she is extrapolating onto these and making it into such an extreme hyperbolic statement that, it's impossible to take seriously, in my opinion.
Have collectively abandoned their sons and daughters. We tell women, you shouldn't have been with a man like that. You made a moral failing on your case. You should have chosen a better man. We don't put the evil on the man. The evil that is being done is that a father has abandoned his own flesh and blood, okay? I know multiple men whose fathers have never...
Didn't she say that a solution to this problem is selective mating, though? So if you're going to criticize women for not selectively mating the correct mate, then how can you criticize people for criticizing women for not choosing the correct man? Isn't that exactly what you're about to fucking get into in this video?
Cared to contact them throughout their lives. Never had a relationship with their fathers. And yet we blame it on the mother. So we blame the ills that men do onto women. Why? Because we do not view women as individuals. We treat them like a collective. So we say collectively collectively, you as women, you need to bear the burden of moral superiority. You need to do better. You need to try harder. You got raped. You should have protected yourself. We don't instead turn the magnifying glass onto the man and say, the man is raping the woman. The man has murdered his wife. The man has raped hundreds of millions.
Yeah, this is the thing. These are issues that have been spoken about at length for a very long time now by many intellectuals. And these are also issues that I believe are being spoken about more, and a lot more awareness is being brought to these problems as well. Like, I do think it is getting better in terms of, like, I think there is less victim blaming now. I do think that people are being held more responsible for crimes like these. I'm not saying it's like amazing by any means, but I do think it's better than it was before. I hear what she's saying, but like to extrapolate this into 85 to 90% of men are evil and like only 2% are good, but even that 2% could secretly just be part of the 2% of like the most evil men on the fucking planet. It's just a horrible perspective.
How can women use this knowledge to dismantle the patriarchy? The first one is selective mating. As women, I beg you, only be with men who are tier 2 at the minimum, or ideally tier 1, and reproduce only with those men. We have to collectively sort.
Okay, right, so this is you now blaming women who end up with men who are tier 3 or above. So you are doing the exact fucking thing that you said men were guilty of when they blame women for getting with shitty men. You're doing the exact same thing. If women get raped or assaulted, it's their fault because they didn't pick a good enough man. That is exactly what she's fucking saying here. It's fucking disgusting, dude. It's some of the least self-aware shit I've ever seen in my life, brother. And just a sentence afterwards, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Imagine getting a course, like a call with this lady, and actually taking it seriously. Okay, we will finish this video, but I want to show you this Papa Gut clip here. Because he found the Rug brand and global sweatshop system. This is very interesting. Because it sort of reveals her evilness, so to speak. Oh no, don't tell me my Ethernet's gone. No, are we good? Okay, we're good. Thank fuck, Jesus, I was so scared. Okay.
And abandon the ones I don't. I've learned.
I think that she just,
Yo, big up Papa Gut, by the way.
I think that she just sold that to herself to make it seem like that's a person.
Invest into your life. And
I think that's what she did. I can't prove it, but this is what I think. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Oh, where's the moron? Where's the moron?
Turn down a lot of people. And so I started thinking and scaling, how do I make this rug business from a personal hobby into an actual enterprise? And within my research, I could not find a single rug manufacturer that does the tufting method and the hand carving and the very artisanal craftsmanship that went into my rugs. I couldn't find a single one of them to do it in America because they have no skills.
Oh, really? So where did you find them then?
The only places.
Okay, just to be clear, he's referring to her rug website, where she sells rugs for a very... Okay.
I was able to find that did the type of tufting that I did was in China and India.
We're done. Where's the moron? Where's the fucking idiot, dipshit fucking moron in the chat? Where's the moron in the chat? Oh my god, she makes them all herself. You're so wrong. I don't know. Look at her amazing designs. She does it all herself. Look at these designs.
Okay, so these are the rugs that she's selling. $250 for a Turkey rug, $250 for a Korea rug, and these are rugs being manufactured by slave labor in India and China, according to her, that are then being sold to her for incredibly cheap, that she is very capitalistically and corruptly, I would say this is evil, by the way, selling for an exorbitant fucking price. She essentially has slaves. Like she is 100% exploiting slavery to make these rugs.
They look like they're from Osmosis Jones in the 90s. They're fucking real. They're real. Everything she does it herself. She does everything herself. Everything is stock footage. She fucking buys cheap rugs from China for $5 and sells them for fucking $250. What are you talking about? You people are so fucking stupid.
He's right. No, this anger is this is a valid crash out here, by the way.
Oh, you're having another MapQuest moment. You're a fucking moron, dude. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude! Look at this. I couldn't find anybody in America who could make the rugs. I have such a high level of fucking order.
Yeah, she couldn't find people in America to make these high standard rugs. She couldn't find anyone in America that would make the rugs for cheaply enough. That's the real fucking thing there.
I got a gargillion fucking orders right now. I can't do this all myself. By the way, everything's stock footage. She doesn't show
No, this is disgusting behavior, by the way. This is actually disgusting fucking behavior.
anything. Dude, look at this. Look at this. She's an evil person. Dude, she's a fucking evil
She is
capitalist fucking bitch. What are you talking about? She pays slave. She's a slave laborist.
She is.
Okay? She engages in slave labor.
Yes.
And to make shit fucking rugs, and then she sells them to dumb pieces of shit in America, like that one stupid motherfucker
Yeah, he's correct. Imagine actually buying these, dude.
who came in here and told me, "You're wrong, Baba God. You're actually wrong. You live and die in the worst hills." What are you talking? Poor immigrants
And yet we blame it on the mother. And do you know why?
Yeah.
Because our society treats
Okay, let's head back to the video.
out tier 3, 4, and 5 men. Because the problem is that because under patriarchy, women for most of human history were under the subjugation of men, we had no choice but to reproduce and marry tier 3, 4, and 5 men, right? Because it wasn't until 1974 where in the US a woman could have a bank account without a man, right? So if you don't have access to money, you can't even buy a sandwich or water, right? So women had no choice but to be financially dependent on men. Through modern Western feminism, women for the first time have the ability to be financially independent, to make sovereign and autonomous choices about her.
Okay, but question, how do we know she uses the sweatshops? Not every factory is slave labor in China or India. Because she's saying that she couldn't find anyone to manufacture the rugs in America when they are the most basic-ass designs on the fucking planet. To say that you couldn't find anyone in America to fulfill that vision is total bullshit. Thank you, made in India doesn't equal slavery. It does in this case, because she's saying that she couldn't find anything in America that makes those rugs. Those rugs are basic as fuck. Every country on the fucking planet has people that can make rugs like that. But she just so happened to go for China and India, which just so happen to be the places where you can get the cheapest, most slavery-ridden labor. Obviously because she wouldn't be making a profit. Are you dumb? You selling them for $250 fucking dollars, dude. You think it costs $250 to get a scribble of fabric like that done in America? I can't believe people are defending this. I can't believe people are fucking defending this in my chat right now. You're defending slavery right now, out of ignorance, by the way. That's what you're doing right now. Absolutely. There are people in this chat defending slavery. I'm sure they're not doing it on purpose. I'm sure they're just genuinely ignorant and don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But, like, you're defending slavery right now. Nobody is defending slavery, LMAO. No, that's exactly what's happening. That is exactly what's happening. You can't call it slavery with no proof, to be honest. Oh my god, you fucking people. You know what? No, I can't. I'm not gonna engage. I'm not even gonna engage in this. This is not gonna happen. I've fucking explained exactly why. She is saying that she cannot find anyone in America. Do you people think that no one in America can produce rugs like that? Do you guys think that she genuinely searched far and wide for fair work in America where she can pay people fairly to make rugs like that? Or do you think maybe she went to the cheapest fucking place possible where the most slavery-ridden places possible to produce the cheapest fucking labor that she possibly can, import it in, and then sell it for a ridiculous amount? How, as a black person, am I defending slavery, be for real? Because you don't know what you're talking about, dude. Do you think being black, inhibits you from being able to be ignorant? Son what? What do you mean, son what? The slaves here are they're not even black, they're Chinese and Indian. This is slavery, brother.
Herself and about the men that she is with. And so I highly implore you to use this freedom and privilege that was hard fought by previous feminists to not engage with evil men. Okay, and we're going to get into in future videos.
So then what happens when the 16% of good men are taken by 16% of women? What happens then? Because then that only really leaves the evil ones. What happens then? What happens after that? Are those women just fucked? Are they not allowed to get into relationships? Can they just be single forever? Is that what they do? But also, how is it even possible to distinguish the good men to the bad ones? This makes no fucking sense, dude. Because according to her, the good men are just people who are hiding their evilness, and the really good men are just really horrible men in disguise, like Cesar Chavez.
Where I think the direction of feminism needs to go, we need to start the next wave.
No, or she could just go full red pill and say that women have to share the top men in the world.
Of radical feminism, because the previous waves of feminism, they didn't get us to where we needed to be, which is to decenter men and to reprogram ourselves away from patriarchy and towards a better, more egalitarian system. And so for women, you have the ability, if you're in the West, you have the ability to not deal with tier 3, 4, and 5 men. It is not good enough anymore for your man to not be an overtly evil man. Your man needs to be an actively good person who is fighting against the 5 great evils, or someone who at the bare minimum does not contribute to the 5 great evils and invest into your life and destiny. Okay, this is the bare minimum we need to be setting. And I beg women, only prioritize, if possible, tier 1 men. I will use my own boyfriend.
Tier 1 men. Only prioritize tier 1 men.
As an example. I met my boyfriend and
2%. She said that most women won't even meet a tier 1 man in their life. There's only so many of those men apparently to go around, but she also said that Cesar Chavez was a tier 1 man, and then he went and raped children.
from day one, he has basically been head over heels for me. He literally bought me almost like a flower shop. Like he arranged a private florist and he got me daily bouquet of flowers every single day. And he was just always thinking and remembering everything that I say. I can tell
lovely.
This guy is
Good for
really
him.
into me. And he ended up proposing to me and I said no. And we are still dating. But the reason why I said no is for the first video. I will link it here about why I turned down 4 marriage proposals. But my man is a tier 2 man. He is someone
Holy
that
shit.
really invests into me. He really likes me. He loves me. He wants the best for me. And he's constantly thinking of ways to make my day better. But he is not a man who is actively fighting against the 5 great evils.
This is this is ridiculous. This is actually, I can't believe I'm listening to this right now. I can't believe that this is actually
Doesn't use his life as a living sacrifice. So he lives his life to his utmost contentment. He's very successful, very wealthy. He's living it up. And he basically is pouring himself into me. And
God, don't pouring himself. That's really grotesque, dude. But also, you have fucking slaves.
a lot of women will view that as very romantic or like relationship goals. But to me, this is not enough. He needs to upgrade to a tier 1 man. And so I basically told him like, look, you have a few months to get it together for me to reevaluate our relationship because I'm not satisfied with a tier 2 man. I deserve a tier 1 man only because
Do you really? You're a slave. You're a slave laborist. Surely that puts you on tier 5.
I myself am a tier 1 woman.
If a man has slaves, are they allowed to be tier 1 men? This is red pill shit. This is like high value man, high value women bullshit. This is fucking insane. She's just as bad, if not worse, than the red pill men that she was just critiquing. I can't fucking believe what I'm listening to right now.
I am someone who have dedicated my life to making sure that we are fighting against the 5 great evils, and I will continue.
The issue here isn't even that this is like, I'm not here to be like, oh, poor men are being criticized here. This is really fucking misogynistic. Like, the advice that she is preaching is harmful to everybody. Like, telling women that they need to selectively mate with people who are tier 1s that most people will ever fucking interact with ever, and that it's their fault if they get abused, it's their fault if something bad happens to them in a relationship. This is fucking victim blaming 101, dude.
To refine and commit to my ideology. The commitment to my ideology is more important than personal desires and satisfaction.
Oh, wait, so a tier 1 man isn't someone who fights against the evil. A tier 1 man is just someone who commits to her personal ideology. and she expects the whole world to act under said ideology as well.
I am willing to let go of men that genuinely love me and that I love them because my commitment to my ideology is just that important. I need you to be just as convicted in your commitment to your ideology as me. I need you as a woman to finally have the courage to stand against the patriarchy and the 5 great evils. And you have to do that through your personal life choices. That means going through and standing up against society. That means being called the crazy cat lady. That means being persecuted, being socially ostracized. You know how many hits I take on a daily basis? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, personal life. People literally tell me all the time, I'm crazy, I'm gonna be alone, that I'm unlovable, that I'm all these things, and none of it matters because my ideology is the right ideology. And
So no one likes you, but the issue isn't you, the issue is everyone else. This is unironically like surface level narcissism of I'm not the problem, everyone else is the problem. This is like stage 1 textbook narcissism. Are you kidding me? That's like the sort of narcissism that people say as a joke. Genuinely good people, by the way, aren't socially ostracized. Like the myth that men who like stand up against misogyny or call out misogynistic jokes around their boys are like ostracized socially or can't interact with men because most of them are evil is ridiculous, by the way. It's ridiculous. Like, without being, I don't know if I'm classed as a tier 2 man or a tier 1 or a tier 3 in her fucking, in her world, but, my belief in staunch feminism and my belief in the woke ideology or leftist ideologies that I currently harbor, and the friend group that I have that have influenced me, where we do genuinely call each other out for misogynistic jokes, no matter, even if they are super minor, especially if they're shit, like we do genuinely call each other out. And that's not ostracized me at all or cut me off of anyone. It's given me hundreds of thousands of pounds, thank you by the way, and 400,000 YouTube subscribers so far. It's been fucking great, actually. Like, it's not as though this is a rare ideology to have that people don't agree with.
Ideology is the one that is going to make the next generation of girls and boys have a better quality of life. I know this for a fact. And so my commitment to my ideology is more important than anything of my personal desires for marriage and children. And I'm willing to sacrifice that. I am someone who...
Start a poll to see what tier chat thinks you are. Thank you for the suggestion, Naz, but like, that's... I can't call this girl a narcissist and then do that, dude. I just can't.
Marriage and children. In fact, I still do, and I'm still open to it. But I will only do it if it supports my ideology and my destiny. And so as women, I beg you, join me in the movement, okay? You need to be a part of this collective. If you don't,
because I'm not committed to her ideology, I'd probably be a tier 5, if that's what her definition is.
Dire consequences that are waiting for you.
Someone's actually noticing me fucking shifting my jaw around. Sorry. I'll try to stop.
Okay, and the
you gotta remember, I just come out from jaws like wisdom teeth removal as well, so my jaw's a bit fucked. But
next videos, I am going to map out to you what happens to women who are internalizing the patriarchy and misogyny, and what happens to their life and their life destiny when they pair themselves with tier 3, 4, and 5 men, and how absolutely bodied they become later on in life. They just get absolutely destroyed. And so we will go into those case studies in the next video. Surprise, our first video in the patriarchy series was the 38 most hyped video on YouTube. We were in the top 1.
Okay. What are the comments saying? Yeah, they all seem to agree with her. This is a group of people who... Well, this is what happens. This is what happens when you're a red pillar. It's filled with people who have this type of content on their algorithm and are constantly reinforcing the beliefs that they already hold, essentially. But this is not a productive mindset. This is an incredibly toxic fucking mindset that is harmful for literally everybody. I'll show you the comments because you guys seem to be quite surprised. It shouldn't be a surprise, but I'll show you. Dodging predators since I was 4. The absence of evil is not the criteria for good. That's absolutely true. It is true. And it's also a very fucking surface level observation that every fucker on TikTok, the most idiot people on TikTok, are also aware of. Really isn't that deep. Well, it is deep that way, but it's not deep as in like, oh, this is I can't believe you said that sort of thing. Try growing up in a strict religious conservative household. I mean, cult like straight, the misogyny is shoved down your throat right when you're born. I've known about this a long time because thankfully I opened books on sociology, philosophy, etc. I made myself realize what was going on. Thought myself as a tier 2 man, but afterwards he revealed himself to be a tier 4. So you young ones need to watch out for that. Thankfully I'm old and don't have to worry about that anymore. Sorry to hear that. This is my type of deception that women have to endure from men pretending to be good men while hiding their evil pathologies. Deleting comments, maybe? I don't know. Patriarchy was the biggest mistake on planet Earth, along with religion. The men have judged individuals. 56, realizing that it's not I have bad luck when men or attract evil, because I'm gullible. Even Martin Luther King Jr. cheated on Coretta regularly. Martin Luther King Jr. is a tier 4/5 man. Okay. Alright, dude. No prob. If he doesn't count as fighting against the patriarchy or the oppressive systems that the West is so engrossed in, unfortunately, then I don't know who the fuck does. Her boyfriend, mate, if fucking Martin Luther King is tier 5 and her boyfriend is tier 2, I need to see this fucking boyfriend. Oh my god, she broke up with her boyfriend. It's a members only video. Why I broke up with my boyfriend. I'm not going to become a member. I'm not doing it. How men turned women into slaves and property, Kvetcha laws. How men turned women into slaves. I'd love to watch that one. Because, as far as I'm aware, the people who are most notoriously known for being turned into slaves are black men. 4 men proposed to me, I said no to all of them. I'm not saying that black women were treated well by any means, but, like, also, I guess she doesn't really give a fuck about slavery, to be fair. My Rug brand versus the global sweatshop system. This is the one where she talks about the fucking China-India bullshit. Oh, this is the online academy of the 1,000 people in the Telegram group. Thank you, Linny Lou 02 for the membership.
CNN exposed.
I would love to see what she says about this because I'm really curious to see if she perpetuates the misinformation that that I was so firm in standing against in my video.
Global Rape Academy with 62 million visits per month where men were teaching other men how to drug and rape their wives and women. One of the sites, motherless.com, used hashtag #iCheck to teach men how to use a sedative drug that would knock the woman unconscious where he would then rape.
Okay. So she's read the article. The article is here. She is citing the article. So either she read it and she is intentionally spreading incredibly fucking dangerous misinformation that directly goes against the wishes and harms the victims of this horrific fucking story, or she didn't read the fucking article correctly and is making a convicted video talking about this whole thing. This disgusts me. This fucking disgusts me.
CNN exposed a global rape academy with 62 million visits per month where men were teaching other men how to drug and rape their wives and women.
That's not what Motherless was, you fucking clown. Jesus Christ, dude. She doesn't realize how much harm she's doing to the actual victims of this fucking story. Probably because she doesn't actually give a fuck. If you gave a fuck, you wouldn't be doing this.
One of the sites, motherless.com, used hashtag iCheck to teach men how to use a...
Look, I don't want to get into the whole... I'm not saying not all men here. I'm not saying that 1,000 men in this fucking group chat is good. I'd recommend, if you've not seen it already, go watch my video on this online academy, because I make my thoughts very clear there. I think I put it pretty succinctly there, like what I think about this all and the misinformation being spread there, and how I'm not trying to defend men by any means, but I'm talking about how misinformation about this story and the dramatization and the hyperbolic nature of 62 million men trying to like rape each other, rape their wives or whatever, which is a term and a statistic being thrown around frivolously by people who don't do any fucking research, directly harms the victims of the story and directly stops them from getting the justice that they deserve, because it diverts from the actual issue, which is the traffic funnels that lead to these online academies. I don't know if she has read the article. I don't know if she's read the article and is twisting it to fit her own narrative, or if she hasn't read the article and is just reading headlines and not fucking engaging with them correctly.
Sedative drug that would knock the woman unconscious, where he would then rape his wife or partner and then upload that video for other men's depraved sexual consumption. This is a separate case from the bombshell Giselle Pellicott trial, which exposed that her husband was drugging and raping her and inviting 70 other men to rape her, where she was raped a total of 200 times in her lifetime. This was her own husband. Now, you might be immediately thinking defensively, well, not all men. Most men are good, and there are just a few evil men. No, we are going to break the myth today that it is not just a few bad men. In fact, it is part of a larger system. That system is called patriarchy. I call this evil number 2 of the 5 great evils. If you don't know the 5 great evils, evil number 1, extreme wealth inequality. Evil number 2, patriarchy and gender war. Evil number 3, racism and nationalism. 4 is religious conflict, and 5 is war and violence.
Yes,
Evil
good one. Use this fucking tragedy of the 1,000 people in this group chat being drugging and raping their wives to sell your fucking course. Great one.
Patriarchy has a very unique positioning in our society that is different from the other evils, because it's the only evil that is not taught in school. No country on earth has achieved full gender parity. This is out of 146 countries that were surveyed, and women lived in unequal conditions in every single one of them. Only 14 countries in the entire world offer women full legal rights. 3.1 billion women and girls live in countries where there are large gender deficits.
This 5 great evils thing isn't a real thing. It's something that she made up and she's written a book about.
And at the current rate of progress, it will take us 134 years to even scratch
Oh, look, this is her,
in countries where there are large gender deficits. And at the
this is where her rugs are made, I think.
current rate of progress, it will take us
We got some live footage of her rugs being fucking created.
134 years to even scratch the surface of achieving global gender parity. And in some countries like Afghanistan, women have to cover themselves from head to toe, are not allowed to go to school, speak in public, and have always been under the subjugation of men. I'm here to break to you the delusion and the copium that you as a woman or man are living in, which is that humanity has never experienced a dynamic where there was harmony between men and women. This gender dynamic between men and women is one of the primary sources of evil that has governed our world and our lived experiences. And it is the only evil.
Yeah, I was going to say, they teach patriarchy in school. There's sociology classes everywhere. There's gender studies everywhere.
Where there is a severe undereducation of it. It is actually a system that operates on 3 principles. Principle number 1.
So what are we talking about? Are we actually talking about the website here, or... No, I don't think we do. It doesn't come up. Does it come up here? Is this it? No, we don't. She just brings it up in the intro, spreads incredibly dangerous, damaging, and stupid fucking misinformation, and then moves on. She spreads misinformation, ultimately damages the credibility of the fucking victims in a disgusting manner, then uses it to sell her course, and then moves on to some other bullshit. Great. Really, really productive YouTuber, this. Carla Kim. Good one, that. That's her most popular video as well. Her magnum opus. Great. Nice one, dude. Yeah, I really do not like this woman. I almost feel bad for, like, entering it in good faith and, like, actually trying to take her point seriously. Yeah, we'll do Tafia Chu tomorrow. I think the stream is over now. This segment went on longer than I thought it would. It's 20 to 1 here, 1 a.m. But yeah, thank you all for joining. I'm going to cool off, I think, and you'll see this video eventually on Shepherd Boy. So thank you all very much. It was a fun stream, especially the first segment. This bit here wasn't as fun. But I'll catch you all later, man. Thank you all very much. Yeah, bye.